Here we go. Here we go. Good afternoon, Crimson Tide and Gamecock Nation, and welcome to Crimson Tide Live, the 7th edition, right here on Alabama with the Voice of College Football. It is also simulcast on the Voice of College Football Ads account and South Carolina at the Voice of College Football. I am yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and I got my partner in crime, Johnny Burts, as we bring you our take on what happened last Saturday. For those that didn't catch the post-game show from Saturday night, I can tell you right now, it was not a happy feeling in Tuscaloosa. And in a little bit, after we have our little venting session about what's been going on with Alabama Vanderbilt and the aftermath, we will bring on Alan Cole from Gamecock Scoop at Rivals to give us his take on the South Carolina Gamecocks. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're in for a wild ride. How you doing today, man?
I am doing well. Been doing well. I've been over in back up on the mountain up in Grant, DAR, doing my education, teaching the young ones what they need to know. Hopefully, so people know I do a lot of traveling. I'm kind of a contract educator, and so I do a lot of different things. A lot of stuff with ACT and things of that nature. Method to the madness of the ACT, etc.
And we got our friend Joey Foster giving out a Roll Tide and Give a Light. That's right, give a light to Alabama with the Voice of College Football, where you can get some of the top-notch insider knowledge, including our takes on Alabama Vanderbilt. And later on, we're going to tell you about the YouTube memberships. Stay tuned. So this Saturday was the first time since 1984 and the first time in Nashville since 1969 that we lost to the Vanderbilt Commodores. It was like, I'll be honest, I started to worry when we were trailing by 2 touchdowns. And it was like, oh, whoa, we're really losing the Vandy. Like, what was the mindset going there?
There wasn't one, obviously. I mean, kids weren't ready to play. Opening drive, I mean, they just kept going and going and going. And I mean, defensively for the last, the second half of the Georgia game and the entire Vanderbilt game, I don't know what our defense is doing other than nothing. Nothing. I mean, we didn't stop Georgia. Well, I mean, the interception at the end of the game, but Vanderbilt, any crucial moment, we put up nothing defensively. So I don't know what they're doing. They better figure something out, because they definitely didn't show up Saturday. It was everybody at halftime. I was like, okay, they'll get in there and they'll come out with a better plan. Second half, same thing. Did nothing in the second half. Just lack of effort, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I thought there was a little anger amongst the players, but there was no cohesiveness. It was ugly football. It was like they were one step ahead of us at every single turn.
It was terrible. Like, we allowed so many passes, like especially those shuffle passes. Like, how did we?
Yeah. Back in the old days, we called that the Utah pass, and it was brilliant call, and it was brilliant. I mean, let them. We were rushing, thinking pass, and then underneath they go, and the tackling was. There were times there was some good tackling, but for the most part, tackling was terrible. I saw. I want to say Lawson. Is he 00?
Yeah, I think so.
He had a chance there at the start of it was in the third quarter, and they were, around the 50-yard line, and one of the running backs ran right up the gut, right up the middle, and he ran right toward the guy. Instead of tackling and wrapping up, he was like trying to push the guy down, and he actually pushed him 5 yards further. And I'm sitting there watching, and I was like, what is this? And I got a couple of clips I'll show you, just poor lack of effort. I don't know what happened this game, but people are going to be scratching their head. And I mean, it's a big stunner and a big confidence Killer.
Yeah.
Killer. Here's one right here. Watch. He's going slow motion. Now he's going to dump it out to the flat over here. All right. And then the receiver, you're in the left, you're going to see number 11 come up there. Got a chance to just plaster this guy and watch him lean his shoulder, runs right by, lands in the lap of the cheerleader. Run it back. Run it again. Watch him. He'll land in the cheerleader's lap. Number 11. I think that's Russell. Well, he's going to dump it. And then watch him come into the picture. Instead of throwing his arms and tackling this guy, watch him lean that shoulder. Duh. And now lap of the cheerleader. I mean, you talk about lack of effort. I mean, what is it? Do they practice tackling drills? I've never understood the try to knock somebody down. The insanity of trying to just knock them down. Throw your arms and tackle somebody. And so if I'm a coach, I mean, back in the old days, if I was a coach, I mean, I would be railing on number 11. I'd already, and I know they got their little iPads on the sideline. That guy, I'd be running that back over and over and over. Look at you. You're in the cheerleader's lap. Did you say hello to her?
Was he like pulling a Kenny Stabler?
Entire game. I'm sorry.
Was he pulling a Kenny Stabler with the cheerleader or something? Like, good grief.
I don't know. But I mean, that's awful. And and we're paying these guys for that. That's what they're going to give us. I mean, let's cut this guy, put him on waivers. They're NFL players now. The crap, they're pros. They're getting paid. Let's just put him on waivers and let's go get somebody else. They're paying. And then, they want their NIL. I mean, I'm sure that South Carolina's going to run that one and show it over and over and over. Look at this guy.
Oh, yeah.
And so I watched top of the screen, the tackle. Got his hand. This guy just speed rushing. He's on the ground.
Boom.
He barely even touched it. Fumble. And look at the ball rolling toward him. He doesn't even recover the ball. A guy from Vanderbilt recovered it. Yeah, run it back. Run it back. Yeah, here you go. Watch. Barely even gets his hands on the guy. Just speed rush. Whoop. Ole. And then right in the kisser. Watch. Bam.
Boom. Right in the kisser.
And there's the ball on the ground. And he's crawling like a little infant child. And then, boom, the guy from Vanderbilt out-wrestles him. You know why? Because they wanted it more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's put him on waivers, too, and get us another one.
That's the thing, though. And I know, like, we've heard a lot of people talking about Vanderbilt lost Georgia State, and they did. Because here's the thing. Nobody brings their A game against Georgia State. But everyone brings their A game against the Alabamas, the Michigans, the Ohio States, the USCs, the Texas, Oklahomas.
Yeah, we talked about this Western Kentucky, start of the season, South Florida. I mean, and the way the now, the transfer portal, and they're bringing in, we don't know what they had last year is not the same team they're going to put out this year. And then now they've got 5 games under their belt, so they've worked out some whatever. And so now, the transfer portal is either going to be a success or a failure. But right now it's working out for Vandy, and Alabama totally laid an egg in this one. And Coach DeBoer, you got some questions to answer, which not with just the media, but with your players. You got to really get after some butts. I mean, going up there, it'll be okay. We'll get back after. You got to kick them in the AAS, get their attention.
Yeah. Well,
we didn't pay for this.
Yeah. Well, and I heard about Malcolm Moore having sort of a fit on Saturday. He was not
ran up there like a little kid. Runs up at the end of the game. The game's over, and he's going to run up there in front of everybody and kick the ball. Are you kidding me? Come on. Kicking the ball. And then later on, he took his mouthpiece out. Did you see him? And he threw his mouthpiece like a child. Hey, you had the whole game to get it together.
Yeah, that's not good.
And that secondary was laying eggs all night because it was just the guys, just flip it out there. Boom, there it is. I mean, it's amazing how open everybody was and how we just keep getting sacked.
Yeah, it's
nobody came to play. Nobody came to play. They drove up there for nothing. Feel sorry for all those fans. And now everybody's laughing because the whole stadium, I mean, what was it, 2/3 with red jerseys and red T-shirts on. The whole city of Nashville, everybody's laughing. It's a big joke. Wonder what they're doing at practice today. I'd be kicking some butts.
Yeah. Well, and there's a message from no, that's not it. There's a message from Malcolm Moore today that we saw on X or on Instagram, whatever platform you prefer. This was the message they put out. I want to apologize to my teammates, our coaches, the fans, our alumni, my family for the way I acted on Saturday. I was completely out of line. I let the emotions of the game get the best of me and put myself before the team. As a two-time captain and a fifth-year player, I understand the standard that we are expected to live up to at Alabama, and I failed to do so by acting in a selfish and unacceptable manner. I came back this season to represent myself, this team, and this university because it means something to me. I am blessed to be able to wear the A on my chest, and I know all that comes with the responsibility of representing this program. I will do better to uphold the Alabama standard moving forward, and I will continue to work and improve while conducting myself in a first-class manner.
Well, that's a nice scripted response.
You
Is that
didn't
one of those
think
responses you get off AI? I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean he's a good player, and he's one of us. He's Alabama, and but come on, got to have
yeah,
some discipline, and you can't throw a tantrum out there. That just everybody laughs at you when you do stuff like that. The other team, you're just jacking them up. They got in your head. Can't
yeah.
let people get in your head. They got in his.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. That's a no. So,
But now coaches need. I tell you what, during practice, now during the game is a different thing. But during practice, we got some coaches down there that need to be getting in somebody's head. Totally unacceptable.
yeah. Well, we had a
Like in the
guy.
old days, we said the next practice, that coming practice, there'd be a bloodletting.
Oof. Oh yeah,
We're fixing to get some players' attention, and they need some senior leadership down there. And then now Malachi, he's gonna have to step back out of the picture and let somebody else step up right now because he's on. He's already shown his butt, and it matters. I mean, obviously it matters, but they got to have some other people down there stepping up this week.
well,
We'll find out.
somebody that's really shown their butt this week is Jaheim Otis because he is entering the transfer portal after the loss to Vandy. Now, I'll be honest, that really doesn't worry me. If it was like 10 to 20 players saying, "Oh, you know what? I'm leaving after this Vanderbilt loss," then I'd worry. But one guy leaving, it's like, come on, really?
Yeah, that's it. There you go. All about me. NIL. All about me. He's gonna take a red shirt, sit out.
Yep.
That's what we've created. We created this monster. That never would have happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Gosh, back when we actually had control of the sport. We don't have control of it anymore. The players do, and that's our fault. But yeah, all about me. So it's the model you set.
It's bad. But what all I can say is like the one thing about being down is the way to go is up. And I believe we can get better. Because I mean, I'll be honest with you. This game kind of feels like, and I'm not kidding when I compare this game to 2017 Oklahoma Iowa State. Nobody had it on their radar. Some of the fans didn't even have it on their radar. But once everybody realized Iowa State was upsetting Oklahoma, it sunk in. It sunk in real quick. It lit a fire on Oklahoma's butt afterwards. And I'm thinking, who knows? What'd you say?
Letting everybody know that this transfer portal is creating the demons. You can't take a week off. You just don't know. I mean, these players come in, you haven't played against them before. They, give them a little while, maybe they'll pull it together in jail, and then boom, and now you got a new team and a new identity, and nothing like what you had last year, the year before. And so it's an evil scenario that now people have to deal with. But fans have a right to be upset right now. They have a right to be upset. Now I know Coach Saban had the 24-hour rule and stuff like that. No, This one we need to get in some heads this week, and forget it after 24 hours. Let it go. We ain't gonna forget this one. We need to use this as motivation for next week, the week after. Everybody we play. Remember Vanderbilt. You better you better pack your bags, get your butt on the bus, and get ready to play.
For sure.
And you don't wait. You can't wait. It's like boxing. You can't wait till after the first, second round to finally find yourself. As soon as you walk in that ring, you got to be ready.
For sure. And we are going to have to get ready for South Carolina. We better really look at this Vanderbilt loss. Be like, we better not have any more moments like this again. Agreed. But there is something that needs to get in our heads. We have to shop on Amazon using the Amazon link to support the voice of college football. You don't need to buy the product display. It doesn't cost you a penny. You get the same shopping experience. And I can tell you right now, you're going to want to, buy some stuff from Amazon using this link, because tomorrow is Amazon Prime Day. And guess what else is available on Amazon and on your local bookstore? The disputed national champions, college football's historical 1990s reset by Mark Rogers himself. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to want to buy this book, because what you'll learn is what happened during the 90s, how the decade changed the sport, why the championship results should be questioned, how to critically think through the scenarios, to appreciate the accomplishments of teams that were not recognized as champions. This book provides an in-depth analysis of the changes, controversies, and outcomes that defined a decade of college football. It challenges readers to explore and critically evaluate the decisions that shaped the national championship landscape. Unlock the mysteries of college football's most debated decade. Grab your copy now.
And remember, 2 years later, we had the SEC championship game.
Exactly. So tell your friends, Exactly. Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Publix to go and get this book. Because I tell you right now, you're going to need it, especially with this football season, and you're going to want it for an early Christmas present. All righty. Here to discuss the Alabama-South Carolina preview is the beat writer for South Carolina from Gamecock Scoop from Rivals. Let me tell you something. He's got an amazing wealth of knowledge on South Carolina. He is the one and only himself, Alan Cole. How you doing today, good buddy?
Good. How are you, sir? Appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming on. It's an honor talking with you, man. So, the South Carolina Gamecocks, you're coming off a huge loss against Ole Miss. And, a few weeks earlier, you're coming off that devastating loss to LSU. What has the season been like so far this season for the Gamecocks from your eyes?
It's been a weird one. I think everybody kind of knew going in you were going to have some questions. You were replacing your quarterback. You lost a first-round wide receiver to the NFL. You knew this offense wasn't going to quite, maybe be where it needed to be in September. But then you go to Kentucky in week 2 and you win by 25 points. And I think people maybe got over their skis a little bit thinking about that. It doesn't help that you played a pretty credible game against LSU and lost a tight one there in week 3. But I think you've seen this week what happened against Ole Miss. This offense, again, is kind of what you thought it was going to be preseason, a unit that is going to need to be carried by its defense. You have a freshman quarterback making some mistakes. You don't really have an identity on offense right now, and a lot of problems up front especially. I mean, South Carolina is leading the country in sacks and tackles for loss allowed. So there's a lot of problems right now, and I would say at this exact moment, the mood around like that football building is probably the lowest it's been all season after what happened Saturday.
Yeah, it's just been, because I remember people talking about, after the Old Dominion game, oh, well, South Carolina's screwed. But then they dominate Kentucky in their own backyard on ABC like they did. And it's, oh, well, South Carolina's not half bad. It just feels like a stock market, up and down, up and down. It just kind of feels like that with South Carolina.
Yeah, it's been a confusing start to the season, I'll say. I mean, you you really were probably a player 2 away against. I know that's a cliche, but it's true. You were probably a player 2 away from beating LSU, from starting the season 4-0. And the flip side of that is, like you said, you were losing in the fourth quarter to Old Dominion before you forced a late turnover there and got a touchdown off of it to kind of spare your embarrassment there. So really, they're 3-2 right now. That's probably about fair based on how they've played, but again, could easily be 4-1, could easily be 2-3. But 3-2 is probably about right.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season goes on. And we got a super chat contribution from our friend Sean Garner. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. We appreciate it very much. And he says, in the last 15 possessions, Alabama's defense has forced 3 punts, 0 turnovers. Never thought I'd see that from a Bama defense. We appreciate it very much. I thank you so much for the $5 super chat. We appreciate it so much from the bottom of our heart.
But, and really it starts up front. I mean, there is just not a push, and there's not, Dallas Turner, there's no edge rusher, like the guy, we looked at the clip with the speed rush on, was that Pritchett? Yeah. And on the left tackle and that speed rush, and we're just not getting that. It's Anderson. He's going, nothing on the edge, just not getting enough pressure. And then consequently, we just don't stunt. We're not pulling, we're not putting pressure on the quarterback. And I'm sure a lot of it is, a lot of these quarterbacks are, run pass oriented, and they've got good wheels and they can move around the pocket and extend plays and stuff like that. But still, you got to get them some type of pressure. And it's just like, I don't know where we rank in, the country and NCAA stats with regard to sacks, and pressures, but we're getting nowhere with regard to that. And that's where you're getting, for not being able to force punts, the third down conversion issue. And I agree. I would not have thought that. Now I know we graduated a lot, but still, we brought in some good, Jackson from Southern Cal. We brought in some good players and had Malachi coming back for his 5th year. So we had some there, and we had more so on the defensive front and linebackers, but we're getting nothing with that. Nothing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
How's the defense there in South Carolina?
Alan? The defense has been the one thing that's kind of held up. I think people might look at, what happened last week, giving up 27 to Ole Miss. It's the complementary football is the biggest problem. This offense was so bad last week and has been so bad at spots this year. But this defense is old. It's experienced. You've got a 5-star in Dylan Stewart, a true freshman who's played very well. It's a pretty old secondary. You got 2 juniors at safety, a senior linebacker in Debo Williams. The defense, the numbers aren't quite as good as they were to start the year, but I think that's as much as anything, the offense putting them in some terrible situations, some short fields, things like that. Defense is the one thing that's kind of going well for South Carolina right now.
Well, it's killing us. We're just the opposite. And, I think we got very comfortable here in Alabama, Saban really hounding defense, the defensive side of the ball, and all these drafted players defensively, offensively too, but defensively. So I think it's stunning to me to watch us play defense. It is just stunning. There's times we look good and there's times we look, the last 6 quarters, it was off. Yeah. I've never seen Alabama look that bad in any decade at any point in time. So, and we have players. We got to, think about the strategy. What are we doing?
Yeah, and Adam Lamparello is not too happy with how Malcolm Moore has been. And we got a $15 super chat from Adam Lamparello on Alabama Voice College Football. Appreciate the super chat contribution. It's amazing. And he says, DeBoer needs to lose the relaxed culture, the music, the ice cream trucks. Saban was tough for a reason. And if Malachi embarrasses Alabama again, he should be off the team.
Yeah, Adam makes a good point right there. If you're going to create a relaxed environment in practice, and a lot of these guys under Saban, and you got after it, and you focused, and you didn't make mistakes. There were going to be repercussions. There was going to be something said to you. Might get your little butt chewed out. But anyway, if you're going, ice cream, if you're going to be relaxed and play the little, all that kind of stuff and do the little jig, if you're going to have that, then expect it in your games.
Yeah.
And that's a drastic change. And so you wonder about the defense, Malachi. You wonder what's going. Are they doing this stuff in practice? And you loosen the reins, and then once you loosen the reins, it's hard to pull them back in. Once players get that freedom and they get that attitude, it's hard to rein them back in. Well, believe me, I've been in the classroom for 30 years. You let those kids, give them any little leeway. Trying to pull them back in it's going to be it's a hard job.
Well, we appreciate the super chat contribution, Adam, and we'd like to also tell you, tune in Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time on Big Ten at the Voice College Football for Rutgers Scarlet Knights Live, the first edition hosted by Adam Lamparello, as he will be going over the latest news and notes on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, including takeaways from the Rutgers-Nebraska game and what's to come for the Scarlet Knights. It will be simulcast on Big Ten at the Voice of College Football and the Voice of College Football. And I got Rutgers at the Voice of College Football right here for everybody to tune in, to like, comment, subscribe to that channel for some of the top news and notes on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. You won't get it from Locked On, but you'll most definitely get it on the Voice of College Football. But, wanted to go over as well, so we haven't played South Carolina for quite a while. It's weird. It's like we played Texas A&M more, but not like South Carolina. I don't get that, but now it looks like we'll be playing them a little more. Gentlemen, how are we feeling
next year too?
Huh?
So that's on the schedule next year too, back in Columbia.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Where it's like, oh man, are we gonna be on? Oh right, we're on ABC.
Still, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Getting used to.
I'll tell you what. I was glad when South Carolina was in the ACC. When Alabama, I used to hate having to play them. Garcia and Coach Spurrier.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no man, it was always trouble.
Yeah,
and they've got a really good program. That's good high school football. Really good high school football area there. So that I can see. I respect what they do and the tradition they have over there and everything. And so, you better strap it up this week. I'm going to be interested. They say the first 5 minutes, I'm really going to be interested in the first 5 minutes. And when Alabama, you give up a umpteen third down conversions. And then next thing you know, they're in the end zone, the opening drive. And I know I've told every week, I say, I know that first drive scripted, and they kind of have an idea when they line up this way, what our defense is going to do. So I understand I got a little leeway with regard to that, but that whole game, was totally, I never could get a beat on it. Never felt comfortable. Even at halftime, I did not feel comfortable. And I remember playing South Carolina. We were talking a little while back with Garcia and Spurrier in that game with Saban. I mean, Garcia, wherever he threw it, man, it's just like angels had wings, and it was just dead. Oh, you talk about a career. There was a period of time it seemed like every quarter there would be a quarterback every season that have a career game against Alabama. So anyway.
Oh man.
Where do you think Alabama ought to attack South Carolina? What's their weakness on defense? Running
defense, it's probably at the cornerback spot. Their corners have played better the last couple of weeks, but overall, it's still pretty young. Their number one corner, actually, yes, Liberty Bar and Grill is cool. That is a good spot in Columbia, Adam. I see the comment there. Their top corner, O'Donnell Fortune, got hurt last week. We don't know his status yet. He got hurt late in the first half against Ole Miss. And the injury report doesn't come out till Wednesday, so we don't know yet. But if he's out, then you're down to probably a sophomore and a redshirt freshman at corner for South Carolina. They've both been fine. That's Judge Collier and Bakari Swain, but not great. I definitely think vertical shots down the field. I mean, Ryan Williams is going to probably be any quarterback he faces, but some of the over-the-top stuff's hurt South Carolina. It's been better. They've been better stopping the run, better at the line of scrimmage, and they have been out in space.
So bring some speed at them on the outside.
Yeah, that's
maybe
kind of what Ole
be a
Miss
way
did
to
some of
attack.
last week.
Well, you saw against Alabama, you don't have to throw it deep. You just throw the intermediate and just keep your quarterback, give him just a little bit of time or whatever.
Well, I mean, that's been the whole thing, though. I mean, dead last in the country, not just in the SEC, but of anybody in sacks. They've given up 22 sacks in 5 games. So I think I would say from like an Alabama perspective and what your audience looks at, if Alabama can't get pressure on this offensive line, they probably can't get pressure on any offensive line they're going to play all year, because it probably is the worst offensive line in the SEC right now, at least statistically.
Well, what are the strengths?
Not much far.
Oh, man.
Alabama, there's not a big gap between Alabama's offensive line and South Carolina's. I mean, we don't know which offensive line is going to show up. We felt good the last couple of weeks. First 3 games, it was kind of, and then but the last 2 games, I mean, it's just been just crazy. Night and day, light switching on and off. It's just nothing consistent.
Well, what are the strengths we need to look out for when we go against South Carolina this Saturday?
Yeah, so I've already talked a decent bit about the defense, but that's pretty clearly the best, side of the ball of this team, the best group. The D line's been pretty good, like I said. Kyle Kennard, Georgia Tech transfer, has been very good. Had another sack last week against Ole Miss. And then when South Carolina has the ball, it's still a running team when they can block, which has been very hit or miss, as I said. But Rocket Sanders, the running back, the Arkansas transfer, I'm sure Alabama fans are familiar with him. He's had a lot of very impressive 3-yard runs, I'll say, because the offensive line gets blown off the ball. There's guys in the backfield. He shakes loose. He breaks 3 tackles to gain a couple yards, kind of thing. But when they are blocking, when he's had a little bit of space, he's been very good. Broke a long one against LSU. So I would probably say there, South Carolina is going to try to do some zone read stuff. The quarterback, Lenore Stars, can move around a little bit as well. But the passing game for South Carolina hasn't really shown to be much of a threat yet. So it's going to have to be defense, run the ball, shorten the game, all that stuff you usually talk about for an underdog.
Well, Alabama, I thought we'd see Milroe running the ball a little more RPO and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
South Carolina does quite a bit of the RPO stuff.
Yeah, I thought Alabama would show a little more than that. I don't know if they got panicky and wanted to, just throw. But we didn't do any of that. And so consequently, the linebackers, you don't check them up. You don't make them think, run, then pass. If you're just dropping back and shotgun, that kind of stuff. And there's got to be a balance there. And I don't know. I know what you're saying. South Carolina's good up front, but you got to start the game running the ball. And you got a quarterback, fastest guy on the team's your quarterback. And you need to be running some RPOs and establishing the run game and getting some time on the clock. Because our defense would seem like constantly on the field, these long drives and offense in and out. And so Alabama's just they got to get back to basics and get back to run first, throw the ball, develop the pass off the run. Because they've got it. You got Milroe and you got 2, we've got Haynes and Miller back there, and those 2 are, they can move it. So I don't know what happened. So I don't know if they pushed the panic button, but it was not good.
No,
was it an offensive problem? I was working my own game, press box Saturday. I didn't really watch any of Alabama Vanderbilt. Scored 35 points. Was it the offense? Not to blame, surely, right? Defense
we never even led against Vandy last Saturday, which was the first time since 2019 that we didn't even lead at a single point during the game. I believe it was against LSU in 2019 that we didn't lead at any point against.
Yeah, I was wondering that myself. But there was never any rhythm in the game for Alabama. Okay. Never. There was no rhythm. And players – I, as a coach and a former player, the players you've got to create a rhythm with the players. Things flow smoothly through that rhythm if the players have a rhythm in the game. But if you're constantly and it's all over, players don't even know when, we're doing this one now. I mean, there's no continuity with regard to what's going on in their head. We're going to, do this play, and then I've got to block here and check that, and then we're going to run this play that is totally different. And now everything, the dynamics change, and there was no rhythm. There was no continuity. It was just a hodgepodge of just crap and no flow, no anything. And consequently, the game was like that. It was just crap. I mean, you want to take it and throw it away and say, forget it, but you can't. Not now. Not in today's world. Everything changes. Boom, boom, boom. And I mean, you've got to take something like this, and you got to stop, and you got to think, and you got to create a response to it. 24 hour and throw it away. You got to learn something from this. This would be a great teaching moment for those coaches, but we'll see what they do. I don't know. Bring in some more. This time let's try sherbet. Let's have some. Let's have some ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah, no. But speaking.
Go
ahead. Here we go. But speaking of sure things, we got a sure thing coming from Mark Rogers himself. Check it out.
College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the voice of college football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the voice of college football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last 2 seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Dace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.
And that's not all. You can also come on in and check out Steve Merrill's under the radar picks, including his week 1 pick, where he had Pittsburgh beating the spread against Kent State. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're doing parlay bets for college football, you're going to want to make sure you got Steve Merrill's under the radar pick. And because I'll tell you right now, it's like making an investment in the future. That I can personally guarantee. There we go. But
y'all got Alabama, and then you got Oklahoma.
Yeah,
yep, going to Norman next week.
Ooh, so you're going to Tuscaloosa and then Norman.
Yeah, the schedule makers, and you got to keep in mind too, that's off the back of Ole Miss coming to Columbia last week. So that's quite a 3-headed monster for the month of October.
Yeah,
I think you're going to.
Alabama's got South Carolina,
Tennessee, right, next week.
Tennessee, and then
we got Tennessee. That's going to be on ABC, 2:30 p.m.
Missouri, yeah.
Oh, that's right, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's like rats. I'm forgetting those time zones again.
Yeah, we'll have South Carolina and Tuscaloosa. Then we go to Knoxville. Then we're back in Tuscaloosa for Missouri. So, but yeah, it's a tough road. Finally get that break. So yeah.
I always keep kind of thinking about Mike Gundy for Oklahoma State, where he's talking about the schedule for the Big 12, where he was saying, we got a hard schedule because I got the wrong person pecans. It's like, oh man. It's like that was just funny. And Adam says, DeBoer lose the cotton candy and player center culture. This isn't Washington. I think after this Saturday, he will. And Steven Scuba says, we found out DeBoer is human, not the ultimate cyborg like Saban. After getting embarrassed by Vandy, hopefully he realizes SEC has no Saturdays off in this league. And I wanted to go over, and we wanted to go over a little bit about who are the players to watch for those who haven't checked out South Carolina except once or twice this year. Like for those people, like who do they need to look out for?
Yeah, so I think I've hit on most of them already. On offense, it's Lenore Sellers is going to be a quarterback. He's young. He's a redshirt freshman. He's still learning a lot, but you see some tools there. He's a bigger body. He can move around well. Rocket Sanders, an all SEC running back at Arkansas. He's had a pretty good start to the year whenever anyone's been able to block for him this year. Wide receiver wise, probably Mazeo Bennett, who's a true freshman, has been the best. He's like I said, he's been getting better every week. 4-star commit out of Greenville, South Carolina, had a pretty good start to his college career. And then on defense, really, it's about Dylan Stewart and Kyle Kennard. I mentioned the two edges. Stewart's a true freshman. He was a 5-star. He's the highest rated recruit since Clowney at South Carolina. He's had a great start to the year. And then Kennard, a Georgia Tech transfer, a 5th-year guy, has been around a while. And then in the secondary, Nicky Manwari, the safety, might be an NFL guy next year. He's a junior. He's been starting for 3 years now. And he's had a pretty good start to the year as well. So it's a young team. It's young kind of skill players, but it's a pretty good group. When it all comes back, I mean, it's football. You guys know as well as I do. It's blocking and tackling. And this team's just struggled blocking so much. But if the offensive line can play well, I think this team can at least stay in just about every game. But that's a big if, and it hasn't happened much this year.
Well, see, and here again, all right, if they have good edge rushers, that's when you're going to run those RPOs, and you're going to use that speed. You're going to try. Speed kills, but you're going to try to use that speed and that rush against them, and throw some screens behind it, that type of thing. So I hope Alabama has enough, wherewithal in their strategizing that, try to figure that out a little bit. And I don't know what to tell you with regard to Alabama. Everything changed. I figured we'd see a lot more RPO with Jalen. We have two really good running backs. The receiving core is solid, and you've got Ryan Williams out there that's really going to gain a lot of attention, which should open up other guys. Defensively, who knows? Worst tackling team collectively. Now, I saw some good tackles the other night. Don't get me wrong. But overall, I mean, it's just awful. I mean, I didn't see a lot of forming up guys. And, I saw a lot of the try to knock them down stuff, shove them forward. So defensively, it'll be interesting. I will right now, I don't know if anybody can predict what they're going to do on defense. They say one thing and they'll do another.
Yeah.
Pressure's on.
Well, and Adam says DeBoer is a great coach. I'm sure behind the scenes he's doing the right thing. He's got faith in DeBoer, but he's not sure about Kane Womack. Well, Womack's a flying bat who flies away, it seems. Yeah.
He's got some he's going to have to get up to the podium and answer some questions. And hopefully there'll be some guys asking some serious football questions with regard to what is the plan on defense? How are you planning to attack South Carolina? And are you going to stick to the plan? And are you going to practice tackling, or are you going to practice they'll bump them down? You're going to teach them to throw those arms.
Today? I swear I saw that Kane Womack talked this
morning.
Did
he? I haven't seen that.
I haven't looked at the clips, but I thought I saw that. I could be wrong. I don't cover Alabama, but.
Well, Alabama, we're used to never hearing from the offensive defense coordinator because Saban wouldn't let them talk. Everything shut down, that kind of stuff. So we're not used to turn on the radio and hearing the interview or whatever.
I'm pretty sure Womack talked this morning, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, he says that he predicted a improved urgency. He says we're going to play with a level of urgency that our fans will appreciate, and a response that we expect for Alabama to have on defense going into this week.
There needs to be some foot and butt going on in that practice field, getting that attention. But we'll see the urgency. We'll see. But got to have some intensity on defense. Yeah, look at that. Awful. Look at 17 first downs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, look at the rushing yards.
Yeah.
Rushing attempts, 21.
But that interception, that was just a dead giveaway. Things were not going to be ending so well. At 12 of 8.
Why are we throwing it so early? All right,
Exactly.
they had a 13-minute opening drive or whatever. Why all of a sudden we're trying to throw the ball? Why don't we try to establish a run, go from there, instead of all of a sudden trying to throw it down the field? So we'll see.
Anybody that ever tells you third down conversion rates don't matter obviously have never watched a game of football in their lives. Or they've only watched like a TikTok clip of a football game, and that's it.
Yeah, and like I said last week, I saw some analyst say, third down's kind of a misnomer. It's hard to base anything on that because it could be quick plays, big plays, and all that kind of stuff. Third down is always a great indicator, and you just saw it right there. I mean, proof's in the pudding. It's right there in black and white in ink, and keep arguing that it doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter. If you can convert on third down and extend games. The big problem Alabama has is penalties on third down. Stupid penalties on third down, extending the drive, and they didn't even snap the ball.
Yeah. I feel like a key to victory right there for us is not to do what we did against Vanderbilt, obviously. But
do like what we did the first half of Georgia. Get on the field, hold them on third down, and get off the field. That's the best thing you can do. But wallering around and committing penalties, extending drives, and just dumb, stupid, silly stuff. I mean, it's just
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. South Carolina's, I don't know what the numbers bear. I do know South Carolina has more penalties than Alabama because I wrote about penalties this morning, and South Carolina is second in the SEC, only behind Ole Miss. South Carolina has been really undisciplined. They've got 41 penalties in 5 games. It's coming from everywhere. It's offense, defense, special teams. So it's on a long list of problems for South Carolina right now. But I wouldn't say that discipline or attention to detail is something that Alabama's doesn't have that South Carolina does, or like an advantage for South Carolina, because South Carolina has been even more penalized than Alabama through 5 games.
Jeez, Alabama
that's a big indicator.
Alabama is tied 101st in penalties per game, and South Carolina is tied 104th. Oh yeah, I was looking at the NCAA stats. My bad.
It's lower than Alabama. I know that. I know they're only ahead of Ole Miss in the SEC in penalties right now, or penalty yards per game. I think
Alabama won't be far behind.
Yeah,
but they need to do a stat. They need to do a stat on critical penalties and critical situations, not just penalties. Okay, when it's a critical point in the game, and then boom, there's the penalty, and that's where it kills you. I mean, first and 15, you get a 5-yard. You can overcome that. Okay, but
third down
when it's
penalties,
third
though,
and 2,
fourth down, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's where they need the stat.
I'm just like at a loss for words at our stats on the penalties, like for both of our teams, because like it's not good. You can't be having a bunch of penalties per game. It will cost you. It's gonna bite you.
I mean, it did. That's probably the biggest reason South Carolina lost to LSU. I mean, Ole Miss, they got outplayed. They weren't going to win the game anyway, but they had 13 penalties against LSU for over 100 yards. I mean, that in a 3-point game, that was probably the difference.
That is the difference. That's it right
horrible. There. It's horrible. I mean, man, I wanted to see South Carolina beat LSU that bad, to tell you the truth. Like, because it's something you don't see. So it's like, I like to see something you don't see every now and again.
But penalties, a lot of it is just discipline. Yeah. Defensive penalties typically come down to what are you teaching during practice. I see Alabama has a tendency, a lot of hands in the secondary. That's going to get you a lot of penalties. In the secondary, you need to be more reactionary and not trying to claw at somebody. Get your head back and and find the ball. But Alabama does a lot of clawing and hand and all that pushing and those type of things. The offsides are just, if you defensive lineman offsides, that's just anxiousness.
Yep.
That's really just not looking at the football. Week. Yeah. It's more you're reacting to sound instead of look at the ball, see it out of the corner of your eye. And when that ball moves, you move. You don't listen to somebody slapping their hands together and reacting on that. If you're reading and you're trying to read, you react after the guy has moved. And so that's a discipline thing right there. So you got to get into, a little bit of better coaching them up. And I don't know. When you made penalties when I played and when I coached, you made penalties. There was a price you were going to pay at practice. We're going to teach you discipline through. Okay, hey, you're going to learn this. Don't do it in the game. So if there's repercussions and it needs to be, maybe some sprints, maybe, whatever, it shouldn't be ice cream and ice cream cones and little Debbie's.
Oh, yeah. I remember like a decade or so back, Kentucky was doing that when they had Joker Phillips. They got rid of that real quick.
What's that? The
ice cream. They were handing out ice cream and stuff. It's
yeah, little Debbie's.
Ice cream's yummy.
Zebra cake.
Ice cream's yummy.
I like zebra cakes.
I mean, ice cream rules, but can't be doing that after every practice. That's a no.
We'd have one back in the old days. You have a watermelon cut, and family would bring watermelon. You'd cut it out. Hopefully it'd be cold. It was always great if it was cold after a hot practice. But that was just a luxury. That was just a random thing. It wasn't just I've been to practices where they play the music and stuff. I don't know, y'all. I just can't. When the music's playing, I can't concentrate. All right, it's hard enough to concentrate when you got crowd screaming, but you can kind of tune the screaming out. But when you're listening to a song and you're humming along with it, and you're singing the song in your head, you're not concentrating. There ain't no place in practice for music.
No.
When you're out there, you're instead of thinking about what you're doing and concentrating on, correcting mistakes, you're sitting there singing a song in your head as it plays on the the jukebox or the boom box, whatever they call it. I mean, that's ridiculous. No place in practice for music.
Alan, what's it going to be looking? What's the scene going to be for this Saturday?
Defines what do you mean? Like a prediction?
Yeah, what's your score prediction?
Well, the atmosphere, is everybody going to be up like that, like Vandy? They're looking for another big upset, or
it's your stadium. I mean, it's in.
I'm sorry. Dadgummit. My bad. You're right. Our stadium. I hope.
I should be asking you. I mean, is Brian Denny going to be up for an 11 a.m. kick after a loss?
Yeah. Well, I hope our fans are angry and they're expecting to demand more from our players, but it'll be a nice atmosphere. But
looking forward to it.
You think? I guess what Jack's asking me, you think they're going to bring a lot of attitude and a lot of.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably a pretty pissed off group right now. It's a lot of frustration from last week. Like I said earlier, it's blocking and tackling, and I take everything you said about Alabama's defense. I understand it. I watched the Georgia game. I mean, at least saw highlights of the Vanderbilt game, even though I didn't get to watch it. South Carolina still has the worst O-line in the country right now by sacks and tackles for loss allowed. I just don't know how you fix that in a week. I mean, Ole Miss was all over them last week. I mean, even Akron got 3 sacks against South Carolina. I know Alabama's defensive line is not what you're used to there. It's probably not an NFL defensive line. It's not a Nick Saban defensive line, but I still think it's more than enough to handle what South Carolina is doing blocking right now. I don't know, 27 to 10
Alabama.
How
mobile is your quarterback?
Like that.
How mobile is your quarterback? How mobile is your quarterback?
He's pretty mobile, but he's also been hurt once this year already on a scramble. So there's some of that too.
Well, we always
the perimeter blocking's also been pretty terrible. I think I was looking at it today. 3 or 4 holding calls on wide receivers already this season, just trying to block them perimeter because they're not big enough. Like, they're not blocking well anywhere. And that's, you saw us score 3 points last week. That'll kill an offense if you're not blocking anywhere.
Well, the other thing and you got to look at your quarterback and the skills that they bring to the table. But if our, we would always, if quarterback was feeling a lot of pressure in the pocket, I didn't move the pocket, spread him out, do a lot of, different things, change the pocket. Is he mobile enough to, if coach, instead of sitting him in the pocket and, people speed rushing and sacking him that way, are they moving the pocket a lot?
They're trying some of that stuff.
And let me add this. And when I say move the pocket, not after pressure, I'm talking about right off the snap.
Yeah, like design
move the
rollouts,
pocket.
things like that.
Yeah.
They're doing some of that stuff. They're doing a lot of like some quick out stuff too. You're going to see quite a bit of some like RPO stuff where they'll make a short throw to, I haven't mentioned his name yet, but Joshua Simons, their tight end. He's big body, 6-year senior. They do a lot of like short stuff to him out of the backfield, just try to get someone big the ball in some space in a way that a defensive line can't disrupt. But in order to do that, you got to block on the perimeter. And that's been a problem as well, as much as on the offensive line. You asked me for
y'all got a lot of
you
things
asked me
to
for
work
a
on like
prediction.
us.
I'm still going to always just choose the way more talented team that's coming home pissed off against an offensive line that hasn't been able to block even Akron or Old Dominion. 27-10 Alabama, 30-13, something like that. I mean, I think South Carolina can score a little bit. I think Alabama's defense has some holes, but I don't know how South Carolina's corners cover Alabama's receivers at all. And I think that probably puts Alabama up a couple scores before halftime. South Carolina has to abandon the run, and Alabama ends up winning this game probably by 17-20.
Well, anyway, last week, what did we say, Jack? 50. Alabama's going to score 50.
Oh yeah, I thought
Vandy would be in the teens.
I thought it was more like a 38-10 game, but it was like, I don't know.
So we got to learn a little better prognostication. So Allen's got 27-10. I'm going to go Alabama's consistently in the 30s. I'm going to go 35-42-10. I'm hoping our defense will show up. I don't know. I'm at a loss. I think
I'll jot it down to 35-10.
What's the spread right now?
21, I think it opened at. I don't know if it's moved, but I think it opened at 21.
Under.
Good grief.
That I don't know.
Well, Alabama
minus 21. The over-under is 50.5.
Okay.
Well, I know. I mean, got to remember, Saban had that moment his first year. We lost to La Monroe, and I was at that game.
See, that's what people forget is like all those people that are like, "Well, Saban would done that. Saban would done." Like Saban has bad moments. I mean, no,
not that first year, but the team should take the personality of the coach, and so we'll see that personality Saturday. Are they going to respond, or are they just going to whatever?
On the bright side, at least it's not Mike DeBose or Mike Shula. Because I mean,
Mike Shula's on South Carolina's staff. Do you guys know that?
Oh crap!
He's an analyst.
Oh man,
he's an analyst. First game. I like Shula.
It's like, he's cool, dude. But it was just like I feel like had it not been for the bad days of Shula, we wouldn't have had Coach Saban.
Yeah, that too. But the thing about Shula is they brought him in, and he had a good record. I mean, he had been doing a great job coaching, and I think he was at Tampa Bay and calling offense, and he came in. But the problem with Coach Shula is the fact that one, the power brokers were different, and then two, a lot of people that had influence in the program, he was probably friends with. To be honest with you, and so. I mean, coming in, being a former player, that kind of stuff, and new power brokers versus the old school. I mean, it's just a recipe. But he did. Most people forget that he did win 10 games. He went 10-2 while he was there.
Yep, and we beat
be replaced by Mike Price.
we beat Texas
for about
Tech
5 minutes.
In the Cotton Bowl. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's that tells you the power brokers back then. We had Gene Stallings, then we went to DeBose. We call him Dumbos, and then
Franchione in there
Shula. Then
Franchione was there 2 years. 2001, 2002. Then he bolted at St.M.
Oh, Fran, old Texas A&M bolter.
But beating
they won 10 games too.
Yep. In that second and final year he was there. But it was funny though, where Oklahoma destroyed A&M in Franchione's first year. They scored
like 77-0, something like that.
Yeah, that was insane.
He never recovered.
Shula's an analyst. He's working with the quarterbacks. But with the new rules this year, because analysts are allowed to travel now when they were only assistants before this year, I guess Saturday will be Mike Shula's first game back in Bryant-Denny since he was the head coach there.
Oh man.
Yeah. I like O'Shula. I thought he did some good things, but I think he just it was if he had waited, it was just he was too young and just too much. And that's where Auburn is now. Too much outside influence, people, trying to run the program. And he was right in the mix, right after Dubose and that, Franchione and all that crap.
Like DeBose, my God, it was he was doing some naughty stuff. I really hope kids aren't watching this one, because they're not going to want, the parents aren't going to want the kids hearing what DeBose was doing in the back room.
Oh, secretary.
Yeah.
Got him fired.
Oh yeah.
Jackson, you got a score prediction? We gave ours.
Yes, I do. I got Alabama winning 35-17. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be under 50.5. I think
52
it's
there.
Oh, my bad. I don't know where my head is today. Sometimes it feels like I got 20 things at the top of my mind. But yeah, Alabama. Yeah, so it's going to be a little Scott Van Pelt bad beat of the week. So it's going to be, is it going to go over 50? Is it going to go over 50? Yes, it goes over 50.
Hey, let me ask you this. Who's y'all's upset of the week in the SEC?
I haven't looked at the whole schedule yet, to be honest with you. I can pull that up now. What else is going on in the SEC?
All right, you got Florida, Tennessee.
Okay.
Arkansas, LSU, Alabama, South Carolina.
Arkansas, LSU's not playing.
Georgia, Texas, and Austin.
I feel like
2 weeks.
Yeah, you're right.
LSU's
Yeah, you're right. Georgia, Mississippi State. Yeah, I'm 1 week ahead. How do you think Vanderbilt's going to do at Kentucky? Big win, big letdown?
Why do I feel like Vanderbilt's going to have a letdown moment? Like,
I don't even think Kentucky's that bad, to be honest with you. I know South Carolina made them look bad, but that D-line's still pretty good for Kentucky, especially playing at home.
LSU, Ole Miss?
I think
Ole Miss on
Baton Rouge
at LSU night game. I could see that.
The last time LSU lost to Ole Miss at Baton Rouge was on November 22nd, 2008. And ironically enough, tomorrow afternoon, and I'll be tomorrow night, I'll be releasing my next episode, the Jacksonia, with Leanne Herring from the Rebel Walk and the host of Ole Miss Live with Mark Rogers. Shout out to Mark Rogers and Leanne Herring from the Rebel Walk. Tune in Wednesday afternoon for Ole Miss Live. Yeah, we'll be discussing a little bit about Ole Miss LSU, but
all right, one last question. Oklahoma, Texas.
I feel like Oklahoma could upset Texas. I don't know why.
Do we know yet?
Yes, he's playing.
He's playing.
Quinn Ewers playing. Okay.
I'm going with Texas.
Yeah, I probably still pick Texas. That game's so weird, though. I feel like every year that game just gets out of hand. Something weird happens.
Texas. Yeah, they're weird.
Oklahoma's got a pretty good defense, though. So I wouldn't be surprised if they hung around there for a while.
Yeah.
Every week in the SEC is just crazy with all these games. I mean, there's big games, so you can't take a break.
What about Florida, Tennessee? I know it's in Knoxville, but Tennessee's like Charlie Brown at the pitcher's mound every time they play.
They'll rebound. Tennessee, I got Tennessee big.
I think coming home, they'll take care of it. I don't think Florida's. I don't think they have enough in the.
You're right.
They don't have the attitude they had under Spurrier. I mean, it's true. They had those guys jacked up, confident. I just don't see it with Napier.
You're right. It's not in Gainesville. It's like, that's right. It's in Knoxville. So they'll actually win, and we'll go back to talking about how Billy Napier's got to get fired. Yeah, that's the funny thing. He's been the biggest winner of all from last week. He's had no attention on him. And you ever had
that's a good point.
Oh yeah, like you ever had that moment in your life where no news is good news?
Yep.
I think Billy Napier had that last week. It's like, wait, nobody's paying attention to me. Nobody's talking about me. Oh well.
But that won't happen this week.
Yeah.
That dynamic is done.
Oh yeah, we'll wait.
You got a week off.
Oh man, we'll wait and see what happens. Yeah. Well, my apologies on the math error. I had one number off. I was like, nope, boom. So, yeah. Alan Lamparello says this team's giving me high blood pressure. I think they're giving us all. I think our teams are giving us a lot of high blood pressure.
I just
But
want
Alan,
to take my shoe and kick it in somebody's rear end and say, "Get it together."
they need
That's all I
need
wanna do.
Pat Riley from Winning Time to come on in and just give them a talk. Just be like, I've had it. So, Alan, what have you got going on at Gamecock Scoop this week?
Yeah, just all the usual, appreciate you doing the plug, the lead up content. We got media tomorrow with Shane Beamer and players, coordinators Wednesday. We'll have our own podcast out probably Thursday previewing the game, Friday preview, and then weekend coverage on site in Tuscaloosa this weekend. Just all the usual football coverage for a game week you would expect. Appreciate you guys plugging. Appreciate you guys having me on. I'm looking forward to getting out there this weekend.
Oh man. Well, I will say we thank you so much for coming on. It was awesome. And it was, and you can check us out on Alabama with the Voice College Football. That you can check us out on Saturday, Johnny and I, on the post game show after the Alabama South Carolina game, where we go over our take on what happened in the game, of course, which I said we'll probably start it like 15 minutes after the game ends, 10 minutes. But
it'll be early.
Oh, yeah. Joey Foster says, howdy, Tide. You better hope you play better than you did last week. South Carolina's not a pushover, and they should have beaten OSU straight up. The refs robbed
I think
them.
he means LSU, but...
Yep, he did.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah, I meant LSU.
I know I made some mistakes days. No worries there. And you can check me out on YouTube at Jackson Johnson 979, where I have my where I have my show, The Jacksonian, including my next episode with Leanne Herring, the Ole Miss live co-host at Ole Miss, the Voice College Football, and the writer for the Rebel Walk, where we will be discussing quite a lot about the Ole Miss Rebels, including whether they can end that long losing streak at Baton Rouge. And you can find me on Jacksonville CFB on X, and you can find me on Instagram and Threads on JatsJots543908, and you can find me on Alabama with the Voice College Football, no doubt about it. And Johnny, what have you got going on this week?
Same old, same old. I'm trying to dress up my man cave down here, my cellar. And for those that I'm in a different location, I'm in my cellar. I live in an old historic house. And so I got my Coke machine right here. I got my TVs around and enjoy it. I finally migrated down here to the comfort zone and just same old, going around teaching them the children, trying to teach them something, educate them.
There you go. Give them
Career educator. That's what I do.
There you go. Education is awesome. And with that being said, oh man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having me on. This will actually be I've covered a game in 10 SEC stadiums. I've never been to football at Alabama. This will be number 11 this weekend. I've done basketball at Alabama, but I've never covered a game in Bryant-Denny, so I'm looking forward to my first one this weekend.
Oh, nice.
I like it. It's a beautiful stadium. Really is.
Looking forward to it.
Dead square center of campus, and good luck getting in and out of there. Now, where are you based?
Sir. Looking forward to it.
You based out of Atlanta?
I'm from Atlanta originally. I'm in Columbia now.
Oh, okay. Good luck getting out of there.
Yep.
Here we go.
You spending the night?
Yes, sir. I'll be there Friday night. And I'm going to try to get back. It's only like 5.5 hours to Columbia, so 11 a.m. kick. I should be get out of there at a decent hour, get back. But I'll be there Friday night.
Good luck on that interstate.
There you go. Awful. There we go. And don't forget to tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Poets about how to become a YouTube member at Alabama with the Voice College Football, where for $2.99 a month, you can become a member for Crimson Faithful, where you can get a loyalty badge next to your name and a member shout out. And you can become a Saban Disciple for $4.99 a month, where you can get priority replies to comments and access to monthly hangouts from yours truly. and friends. And you can become a Bear Bryant legend for $9.99 a month, where you can connect on social media and give out content requests for Alabama with the Voice College Football for this channel. And with that being said, you can also check out Alabama with the Voice College Football on Amazon Music, Audible, Spotify, Apple as well. And I'll tell you right now, you're not going to want to miss it on wherever you listen to podcasts. And I bid you all a happy Monday evening. Sleep well. And may the rest of the week go awesome for us all. And stay safe, stay warm. It's cold out. Good night, everybody.